On a cold morning in Minneapolis, a woman sat inside her car. She was not holding a weapon. She was not surrounded by police lights. She was not on the evening news. Minutes later, she was dead, shot by a federal immigration agent during an operation that most people in the city never knew was happening. What followed would split official accounts, ignite protests, and force a painful question into the national spotlight. When federal enforcement turns fatal, who is held accountable? On January 7, 2026, federal agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, commonly known as ICE, were conducting a large enforcement operation in the Twin Cities area. The operation was part of a broader federal crackdown tied to alleged immigration and fraud violations. Unmarked vehicles moved quietly through residential streets. Agents wore tactical vests, not standard police uniforms. There were no public alerts, no visible perimeter. For most residents, it was an ordinary winter morning. Then, at one location in Minneapolis, something went wrong. During the operation, an ICE agent fired his weapon at a woman seated inside a vehicle. She was struck. Emergency services were called. She died at the scene. Her name would soon appear across national headlines, but in those first moments, there was only confusion and silence. Within hours, federal officials released a statement. According to ICE and the Department of Homeland Security, the agent fired his weapon in self-defense. They claimed the woman attempted to use her vehicle in a way that posed an immediate threat to officers on the scene. The use of deadly force, they said, was justified. The agent's identity was not released. The investigation, federal authorities confirmed, would be handled internally with oversight from appropriate agencies. To some, the explanation seemed straightforward. To others, it raised more questions than it answered. Because almost immediately, the local response told a very different story. Minneapolis officials reacted swiftly and publicly. The city's mayor challenged the federal account, saying the explanation did not align with what local leaders were seeing or hearing from the community. He demanded transparency. He demanded answers, and he demanded to know why federal agents were conducting armed operations inside the city without coordination or consent. Minneapolis is not unfamiliar with tension between law enforcement and the public. The city carries history: protests, investigations, national scrutiny. So when word spread that a federal agent had killed a resident during an immigration operation, trust fractured almost instantly. Community members gathered at the scene. Candles appeared on the pavement. Questions echoed through the streets. What exactly happened inside that moment? Behind every headline is a person. The woman who died was a mother. She was described by family as creative, caring, and deeply connected to the people around her. She had recently settled in Minneapolis, building a life, raising children, finding her place in a new city. Friends spoke of her warmth. Relatives spoke of her resilience. None of them expected her name to become a national talking point. They did not recognize the version of events described in the official statement, and they wanted the public to remember one thing clearly. This was not just a case number. This was a human life. As public pressure grew, attention turned to video evidence. Body camera footage exists, surveillance footage exists, but what has been released and what remains unseen became a controversy of its own. Local leaders said the available footage did not clearly support the federal claim of an immediate threat. Activists demanded full release of all recordings. Federal agencies urged patience, citing an active investigation. The gap between what the public wanted and what authorities provided widened, and in that gap, distrust flourished. Within days, protests spread across Minneapolis. Some demonstrators called for ICE to leave the city entirely. Others demanded independent investigations into federal use of force. Civil rights organizations weighed in. Political leaders across the country took sides, some defending the agent's actions, others calling the shooting unacceptable. The incident became more than a local tragedy. It became part of a national argument about immigration enforcement, federal authority, and accountability. And once again, Minneapolis found itself at the center of America's unresolved debates. This case raises a question larger than one city. When a local police officer fires a weapon, oversight is often immediate and public. But when a federal agent uses deadly force, accountability becomes more complex. Who investigates? Who releases evidence? Who answers to the community? And when those answers are slow or unclear, trust erodes. The investigation into this shooting continues. As of now, no charges have been announced. The agent remains unnamed. The family waits. One woman is gone. One federal operation ended in death. And a city is left asking questions that have no easy answers. Was this self-defense or excessive force? Was this an avoidable tragedy or a preventable one? Until the full truth is known, Minneapolis waits, and so does the nation. What do you think happened that morning? Should federal agents be held to different standards or the same ones? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more true crime stories that demand answers, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what comes next.